Bob Weir, born Robert Hall Weir on October 16, 1947, in San Francisco, California, stands as one of the most enduring and influential figures in American music history. Best known as a founding member of the Grateful Dead, Weir's life and career were inseparable from the band's cultural impact and from the broader countercultural movement that reshaped music and society in the late 20th century. Over more than 6 decades, he evolved from a restless teenager into a seasoned musician whose work blended rock, folk, blues, country, jazz, and experimental sounds. When he passed away on January 10, 2026, following complications related to long-term lung issues, he left behind not only a vast musical catalog but also a philosophy of artistic freedom and exploration that continues to influence generations. At the time of his death, Bob Weir's estimated net worth stood at approximately $60 million, amassed through relentless touring, recording, songwriting royalties, merchandise, and successful projects both within and beyond the Grateful Dead. Weir's early life was marked by instability and challenge, but also by the beginnings of creativity that would define him. Born to biological parents John Parber and Phyllis Inskeep, he was placed for adoption shortly after birth and raised by Frederick and Eleanor Weir in Atherton, California. Although his adoptive family provided stability, Weir struggled in school due to undiagnosed dyslexia. He was expelled from multiple schools, experiences that fostered frustration but also independence and resilience. Traditional academic paths never suited him, and it was music that ultimately gave him a sense of purpose. After brief attempts at piano and trumpet, he found his true voice when he picked up the guitar at age 13, discovering an instrument that matched his curiosity and unconventional spirit. A pivotal turning point came on New Year's Eve in 1963, when the 16-year-old Weir met Jerry Garcia at Dana Morgan's music store in Palo Alto. Their chance encounter led to an all-night jam session that would prove historic. United by a love for music and inspired by the creative revolution sparked by the Beatles, Weir and Garcia formed a band that evolved from Mother McCree's Uptown Jug Champions into the Warlocks, and eventually into the Grateful Dead. What began as youthful experimentation soon grew into a musical movement that redefined live performance and audience engagement. Within the Grateful Dead, Weir carved out a unique role as rhythm guitarist and vocalist. While Garcia's lead guitar often took center stage, Weir developed an unconventional rhythm style that defied traditional rock norms. He favored unusual chord voicings, syncopated patterns, and an almost orchestral approach, drawing inspiration from jazz pianists like McCoy Tyner as well as folk and blues traditions. Early misunderstandings about his role sometimes led to tension within the band, but those challenges pushed him to refine his craft. By the early 1970s, his guitar work had become a crucial foundation of the Dead's sound, providing structure and texture to their improvisational performances. As a songwriter, Weir contributed many of the band's most enduring compositions. His songs often leaned toward Americana, storytelling, and emotional clarity, complementing Garcia's more exploratory tendencies. In 1972, he released his debut solo album Ace. Though credited to Weir alone, the album featured performances from the full Grateful Dead lineup and included Playing in the Band, a song that became a live staple and a platform for extended improvisation. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Weir demonstrated an unrelenting desire to explore music beyond the Grateful Dead. He formed and performed with side projects such as Kingfish, the Bob Weir Band, and Bobby and the Midnights. These ventures allowed him to experiment with different sounds and collaborators while maintaining his central role in the Dead. His openness to evolution reflected the countercultural ideals the band embodied: freedom, curiosity, and resistance to stagnation. After Jerry Garcia's death in 1995 and the dissolution of the Grateful Dead, Weir refused to let the music fade into nostalgia. Instead, he became a driving force behind various reunions and reconfigurations, including The Other Ones, The Dead, and Further, which he co-led with bassist Phil Lesh. These projects kept the music alive for longtime fans and introduced it to new audiences. One of Weir's most significant later career achievements was the formation of Dead & Company in 2015. Alongside fellow original members Mickey Hart and Bill Kreutzmann, and joined by John Mayer, Oteil Burbridge, and Jeff Chimenti, were helped bridge generations of musicians and listeners. Dead & Company enjoyed massive commercial and critical success, culminating in extensive tours and a landmark residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas in 2024. The project reaffirmed Weir's relevance well into his 70s and underscored his ability to collaborate across eras without sacrificing artistic integrity. Beyond performing, Weir embraced innovation. In 2011, he founded TRI Studios, a technologically advanced recording and streaming facility designed to explore new ways of sharing live music. Later projects such as Wolf Brothers showcased stripped-down arrangements and orchestral collaborations that reimagined Grateful Dead material in new contexts, further highlighting his willingness to evolve. Weir's personal life balanced freedom and stability. In his early decades with the Grateful Dead, he remained unmarried and shared a long-term relationship with Frankie Hart, often cited as the inspiration for Sugar Magnolia. In 1999, he married Natasha Munter, and together they raised two daughters, Shala Monet Weir and Chloe Kelia Weir. Family became an important anchor as he aged, even as he continued to tour. Outside music, Weir was deeply committed to activism and philanthropy. A longtime vegetarian and animal rights advocate, he supported environmental causes and encouraged civic engagement through organizations like Headcount. In his final years, he faced health challenges with resilience, overcoming cancer in 2025 before ultimately succumbing to lung complications. Bob Weir's legacy extends far beyond albums or tours. It lives in the spirit of musical curiosity he championed, the communities he helped build, and the generations of artists he inspired. More than a survivor of a legendary band, he was a creative force who proved that artistic growth has no expiration date. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.